You are what you repeatedly do. Excellence is not an event, it is a habit. Aristotle. My friends, what you need to repeatedly do each and every day to learn how to chart these markets is to spend 10 to 15 minutes doing that. If you will do that on a daily basis, you will build the results over time, just like building muscle mass, just like building excellence in a sport. Perfect practice makes perfect, like learning how to play the violin or the guitar, learning how to sing. All those things, practice. Ask any expert, any professional. They'll tell you that's what it takes, and that's what it takes here. And all we ask, 10 to 15 minutes each and every day. Let's jump into these charts. Stocks down, bonds up, gold and Bitcoin down. Told you to be looking for what? Looking for a potential trade to jump into on the down move. Well, it happened in the afternoon on the S&P 500. We initiated, again, a short position this afternoon. Hope you did it in a practice trade. We went ahead and I was using this little ATR band down here because I found it easier to set than trying to go off all these different numbers. I'm just using the number that it pops up here. And I've got to open it back up for you here. You can see when you tag it on there, $6.56. That is what we set our short at. Then we double that for that's our loss band, and we double that for our profit band for a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. You might be saying, well, those of you who are new, how are you going to make money when something goes down? Well, there's an inverse fund called what? That is called SH. It goes in the opposite direction. I can show you real quick. It is a pro-share short, single short of the S&P 500. Not super expensive, about 15 bucks a share. You might say, well, wait a minute, if the S&P's $400 and something a share, what's this about? Well, they move up the same percentage. So if you bought one share at $401 of the S&P, you'd buy X number of shares for $400, same percentage increase or decrease. So they are teamed to move in the opposite directions. That's why it's called an inverse fund. We got a great training on that inverse funds, how to make money when markets crash, which is, of course, what we want you to practice. So, told you yesterday to be on the lookout. Why? Well, you look at the 2-day chart. How was it setting up? It had moved up, and then we saw it was starting to weaken, not reaching a higher high. Was it going to bounce off that 200 EMA? Looks like that's what's happening. It's subject to change tomorrow. And of course, our weekly chart was still down on the STC, so we were waiting for a down move. Our half-day chart is under the 200 EMA. It had topped out and couldn't get any higher and then started rolling over. We initiated that trade in the afternoon. We'll see how it continues to go. Can't say the same about the Qs. Even though it was down also, the STC did not rotate over. So we are standing by on the NASDAQ 100. Somewhat similar. We look at the 2-day chart. It is green on the STC, but weakening there well below the 200 EMA. And of course, the weekly still negative. So as far as our success multiplier formula goes, we're at a negative 11 right now because that 2-day is still up. That is where we are. Now, all this down movement, of course, those of you who have your own favorite stocks and other ETFs, maybe sector funds and things that you follow, we have the same. And in fact, I was looking across the board. We found a number of different short positions to take. We started, of course, with advanced micro devices. That was a short position we entered actually in the morning. ADM is another. We actually jumped into that back on the 8th, and it is going in the right direction. Bank of America, I've been waiting for that. We have, of course, traded that in the past with some success. This one is definitely going in the right direction. We started back on the 8th. The one thing I'll tell you is you can watch as things go into the red and the crossovers start occurring, you can see the index setting up for the down move. Of course, we also had Colgate Palmolive. That gave us an opportunity back on the 7th when that one 7th, yes, when it rotated over. Also, took it a little while. I was getting a little worried about that one, but it really started rolling over in the afternoon. And you'll watch that happen as everything sort of floods into the market, or maybe I shouldn't use the word flood, drains out of the market. That seems to just sort of start happening with a few outliers, and then it just crescendos. Here is a ETF. A stock, D.H. Horton. That's, of course, in construction. And we see that it did rotate over. And then, of course, what has it done? It actually started pulling up. We pulled that one in the afternoon because unlike everything else, it actually started going green. So I'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. When we look at our gold, you know, we complain about the fact that you can't find gold as a good position to jump into when you want to short something. Well, the nice thing about the gold miners, both the gold miners and the junior miners offer opportunities. So, and for puts, and they're not nearly as illiquid as getting into something like DGZ, which is the inverse of gold. So quite liquid. So that offered an opportunity. We go to another real estate group, Simon Property. That also offered a recent opportunity after its dividend was declared. You'll see that happen. That's something for you to look for. What does a stock start doing after the dividend? You don't ride through it. You start after it, and then you can follow those movements many times. What do we see with steel? Of course, steel started heading down in the morning. We had an opportunity to jump into that, continued to go in the right direction the rest of the day. I've already told you about SPY. Apple offered another opportunity to jump in. We've taken those in the past. Had good and not so good. I mean, we didn't lose anything here. We wanted to get 8%, and we did capture that one. That was the one where we had the target posted wrong. I remember that. We posted it wrong, and we ended up capturing it later than we should have. But also, we had that prior one. I can't quite see how that went. That was, let's pull this over. Got so much stuff on the chart. Yeah, that was a 7.9. That was a 8%. So yes, opportunities there in Apple. We jumped into that. We'll see how that goes. And of course, Disney. Disney offered an opportunity. We had success in Disney in the past, 6.24%. And of course, here's one for you. Silver. Silver actually rotated over in the afternoon. Gold's not done that yet. In fact, that is the chart that we will go to next. We'll get to TLT 20-year bonds in just a minute. You know, gold's been in this range, not being able to get over, hitting up twice, getting close twice to the 200 EMA, and then rotating back over again, you know, just sort of building up and losing, building up and losing. And it hasn't rotated over going down yet. We look at the 2-day chart. It was down for the day 0.32%. It's still red as far as the STC goes, sliding sideways there. And of course, the weekly is still red. We had that green spinning top and then a doji last week. So gold is potentially poised for some down moves. We'll wait, watch, and see how that plays out. What about bonds? Bonds, the only thing up for the day a little bit. And again, as we look at bonds, we had things cross back over, and what we saw is we still have a red candle, but we see some weakness there. It was up a little bit for the day. Is everything going to trash down? We'll make a call in the morning whether to stay in that bond down trade or not. Remember the inverse fund for bonds, TBF. So that is where we are with bonds. Of course, the 2-day is up, but we've got those 4 down candles. and as far as the STC is up, and the weekly is down, with this week actually moving down lower. Hasn't hit that lower low that we hit back on the week starting the 9th of May, but does appear to be heading down that way. So we'll keep our eye on that potential trade if it goes, I guess we would say not south, since we're in a down trade. We would say north on us. How you like that? Okay, lastly, we'll take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin down for the day 0.4 something percent. We look at the half-day chart, and again, tight range. Still in the green here, which doesn't mean a whole lot to us. Why is that? Because of all this sideways sliding. Excuse me as I clear my throat a little bit. Got a frog in there. There we go. Okay, we see the 2-day chart is still negative, and really again just sort of that sideways sliding. There we go. And on the weekly, it's still in the red too. So we got no up trade in Bitcoin. The overall markets, when they come to cryptos still a hurting. We do have 2 dojis. Maybe we're finding a bottom here, maybe not. Maybe it's just digesting all those losses to lose again. We don't know, but we've got other opportunities for shorting when it comes to the stock market, our stocks and ETFs. That's where we are, folks. Thank you so much for being with us, Patreon members. If you hadn't checked out this month's monthly live question and answer Patreon call-in session. I recorded it yesterday and we put it out to you. Check your email, check the Patreon page. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.